Hi everybody, thank you for joining me in today's video. Today we are going to be doing two different crafts for Easter time and also for the spring. Then I'm going to be showing you several different activities using these plastic Easter eggs, so stay tuned. So today we're going to be making a wreath for the Easter or springtime. And all you really need for this is some construction paper, or I have this really cool colored paper that I had at home, but you could use anything you want. You could use white paper and color it in. You can use construction paper, anything that you have. And then you're also going to need a pre-cut paper plate. You are going to need some glue. And then you're also going to be needing a pair of scissors to cut out the Easter eggs. So, I already have one cut out for you right here, and I glued it to my wreath. So one thing I'm going to show you to do when you're gluing is to have a piece of construction paper underneath, because it gives good contrast to the paper and the background. So if you were working on a white table and the wreath is white, it might be harder to glue it directly onto the wreath, and your child might accidentally get some spilling on the paper. So it's always good to have something, a nice contrast in the background. So I have some of these eggs already cut out, and when you're gluing, I really like to use bottled glue because it really incorporates the hand strengthening of having to open and close the lid and to squeeze the bottle. So I really like when kids use bottled glue. So whenever my kids are gluing, I always say use a dot, not a lot, because it gives them a good cue. And I always like, instead of gluing onto the wreath, I will glue it directly onto my Easter egg first. And actually I'm going to use this one because I'm going to make a pattern. So use a dot, not a lot. I'm going to put a couple more dots around. And actually a good tip I have is when you are gluing it to the paper, you could put a colored dot because it gives a nice cue to where you want your egg to go. See how I did that here? Just put a dot there. And glue another one on like so. And it's also good to have the paper underneath, in case you do have some excess glue that does spill, it's not going directly on your table. And then we just want to push down. Okay, we're going to do another one. I'm going to keep the pattern going. So you want to save one of your eggs so that you can use it for tracing on your paper. And this is really good for bilateral hand skills because you have to use two hands. It's also a really good visual motor skill. Good for focusing and attention. See how I'm turning a little bit? And now we're going to cut this out. If you wanted to, you could always use a marker to trace your eggs, to make it a little bit darker so that you could see it better. So I'm going to show you how to trace it on the white side of the paper. If you have like a really busy pattern going on, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to trace and to see your line. this is what the wreath is supposed to look like when it's finished. You can see I added a little bow to mine. And there's so many different ways you could tailor this activity. You can write a letter, one letter for your name in each of your eggs. You can write a word about the spring inside of each Easter egg. And also just don't throw your scraps out. Save your scrap paper because you could always use it again for another art activity. So I wanted to show you guys a quick tip in case you did decide to color in your own Easter eggs. I know some of you may have a little bit of trouble staying in the lines when you're coloring. So one of the tips I have for you is to actually put some glue all around your Easter egg and let it dry overnight. And then in the morning when you wake up, this should be a nice hard border. So it gives a good tactile cue for when you're coloring as where to stop when you're coloring inside the lines. It's a really good technique that I've used. Another thing that you can do is if you have these are called wiki sticks, and they're these wax sticks that you could put on paper. You could use them for making letters. You can use them for all sorts of activities. But one thing I really like to do with them is to put them around the perimeter of something that I'm coloring. And it kind of acts the same as the glue. Gives you a nice tactile cue for where you want to stop coloring so that you could stay inside of the lines. So those are just some easy techniques that you can use. And also with the glue, if you use them on shapes for when you're learning how to make shapes, I don't know if you could see this too good, but I did this overnight on some shapes, and you could have your child go over the shapes with their fingers to get the motor planning. It's really good for learning shapes. You could also do the same thing with letters. So here's just a quick tip that I wanted to add to today's video. So the next activity we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a rabbit for origami. An origami rabbit for the Easter and springtime. Now origami is a great activity for fine motor skills, and it also incorporates sequencing, following directions, problem solving, and eye-hand coordination. So it works on a lot of different skills. So the first step in doing this activity is we're going to fold the paper in half. Now, if it's a little bit uneven, you can actually trim. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to trim it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is your project, so if the edges don't line up completely, that's okay. You just want to make sure that, you know, take it and we match the corners and fold. Okay. Now we're going to fold it in half again. Now we're going to take the bottom part and we're going to fold it up like this. Now from here, we're going to take this half and we're going to fold it like so. Fold it up. And parents, if you're around, this is the part you might need to help your child with because this is a little bit more difficult. We're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. So this is what we have so far. So I taped this side a little bit just to make sure that it stays. I put 2 pieces of tape here. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over. We're going to take this little corner and we're going to tuck it in to make it flat. Now we're going to take a scissor and we're actually going to cut the bottom. Just this little piece at the bottom. Okay. Next we're going to make the eyes of the rabbit. So we're going to make 2 ovals. And then we're going to make a circle here and a circle here. And then we're going to color this part black. Now we're going to make a nose. You could use red or pink or whatever color you want. And now we're just going to make a little mouth. So we're going to make a little line down like that and then a curve on each side. So here you have a rabbit origami activity. So now I'm going to show you some activities that we can do using plastic Easter eggs. So here I have almost like a matching memory game, and I have these different color paper clips, and you could hide them under different eggs. So I'm going to put an orange one over here, put an orange one here, some green. And you could play it almost like a matching game, and you could put the paper clips or whatever you have at home. You could use buttons, you can use anything that you have, and you have to have your child. You could take turns, and you could, lift up one egg. Is there anything under there? And obviously, if you're playing, you want to you could fill all the eggs with different colored paper clips. And the point is to turn them over and to eventually find a match. So that's not a match. Oh, but this one was, let's see. Here's an orange. Let's see if we remember where the other orange one was. Oh, that was green. Okay, and you take turns and see if you can find the matching paper clips. And this kind of game is really good for visual memory skills. Another activity that you can do with the plastic Easter eggs is you can simply just match them by color. Oh, we have some paper clips underneath. You can match them by color, or you could even match them by letter. So for example, here I have, on this one I have the letter A. You could find another match that has a matching letter A. You could do it with numbers, or you can have them put a sentence together, so you could have different words on each egg. And I just put a little piece of tape here. So that's another activity that you can do with the Easter eggs. So this is another activity you can do. You can put the Easter eggs into an empty egg carton that you have. Make sure you clean it out. And most people have these tongs in their drawers for for salads and for cooking. So whatever you have on hand, you don't have to use them. You could always use like tweezers if you have tweezers, or even just your fingers. And you can match the color pom-pom to the egg. And you could put like a number inside of each egg and have them put that number of pom-poms in each Easter egg. And now that the spring is here, it's really easy to find these. I actually got these at the dollar store. So this is another activity that you can do. Our next activity you could do is you could have a spoon race using a spoon, and you're going to balance one of your eggs on the spoon. And you could do it with a friend or a sibling or a parent at home. And you could try to balance the egg and try to get it into a basket. And you could have the basket up high, so it incorporates more reaching and range of motion of the shoulders, or you could put the basket on the floor and it incorporates some bending. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this activity. You could even run back to get another egg. You could walk backwards. Make sure that there's nothing behind you. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope you really enjoyed this and got some good ideas for you to do at home. And I can't wait to see you guys soon. Thank you. Have a great day.